what made the government, when they knew that these planets were coming, feel that they could hide it? I guess what I'm trying to say is, why did they know ahead of time that your average Joe wouldn't see them? Do you get what I'm saying with this, what I'm asking?
No, I understand the why. A really good example is look what's happening to our stores now. Look at the panic that's already going. Look at the major conjecture and all of the attributing of gossip saying that this is going to help with the coronavirus. And has anybody met anyone that even has the coronavirus? And now, granted, that total is very, very low, but they've known this is coming. And if they outright told us, I think that we would be in far worse straits than we are right now. I think people would be toting weapons and robbing stores. And because of this level of unknowing and fear and the conjecture and panic and gossip, I think is getting out of control. And this is why we spoke earlier that I think it's really incumbent for us to be responsible. Even if we feel like sharing this scary truth, we should perhaps word it in a manner that would be a betterment to mankind and society rather than a fear-mongering pass-on of, oh, my God. And if you cannot prove it, don't post it, please.
Right.
Let's stick to the people who know what's really happening, the scientists. Now, there's a lot of pages out there that, they're getting their membership fees, and that's important to them. I can understand that. But if you're not being responsible and credible, please don't. Please don't.
I get where
it's making harder work.
I get where you're coming from. We're somewhere in the third year of doing this show, and for years I've listened to guests talk about disclosure, which is maybe a word that can apply to this. But in the case of disclosure, a lot of the time they're talking about alien abductions or aliens or something. But in the case of disclosure, their argument has always been that the government thinks that people will panic, and that's why they won't disclose it. And I've always kind of sat there and thought, well, maybe people wouldn't panic. I don't know. That's a weird argument. And then this coronavirus thing happens, and then I go, okay, maybe disclosure would make people panic. And you might be totally right, because obviously we're dealing with something way less than the end of society as we know it. And people are buying up all the toilet paper.
The world economy has been kicked in the nards a year ago, and we started to teeter and fall back and forth between. Now I watch all of the news. I watch Japanese news and French news and English news and American news, and the Russian television. RT is really good, even though
I try to.
we're not supposed
I try to diversify my news.
There's also the deal that the government got involved with, and I'm reaching on some scary stuff for me. There is a treaty between the extraterrestrial races and the United States government, and probably the G7. And that treaty was to allow certain amount of abductions to occur. Now, both sides have broken the treaty, and I don't know the current state of the treaty because I've not been in the know or as an insider since the 80s. So I don't know all of the information, but I was told when I asked, why did you only give me a 30-year non-disclosure agreement instead of a 50-year non-disclosure agreement? They told me, quote unquote, after that, it won't matter. Now, my non-disclosure agreement ended in 2010. If they told everyone the fact that we had licensed the alien races to abduct a certain amount of us to collect biomaterials and study group materials, just like we study wolves, if they would tell people that they gave permission for that, there would be a great deal of irritated response.
Welcome to the radio.